This was my first time spending Chinese New Year in Shanghai, and I was honestly surprised. If you didn't know any better, you'd think the city was back in a pandemic lockdown. There was almost no one on the streets. Even the usual red decorations for the holiday were nowhere to be seen. The whole atmosphere felt so quiet. The subway, which is usually packed, was so empty you could have danced in it. I started wondering if people in Shanghai don't visit family and friends for the New Year. Nanjing West Road, which is usually bustling with people, had only a few people walking around. Look at the supermarket now. In previous years, it would have been packed with people shopping for the New Year. But now, there's barely anyone here. Does anyone even come to shop anymore? Just look at all these New Year products. No one's buying them. Chinese state media has been strongly promoting the idea of a prosperous Chinese New Year market this year, highlighting the new trend of electronic New Year greetings and painting a picture of visiting family, hot sales of New Year's goods, and busy temple fairs. However, the reality is very different from these reports. Videos shared by mainland Chinese citizens on social media show empty malls and supermarkets, quiet streets, and unsold fruit and gift boxes. Even in major cities like Shanghai, there's no festive atmosphere. Some netizens are asking, do people in Shanghai not visit their family and friends during the New Year? Analysts believe this situation is mainly caused by China's economic downturn. With companies cutting jobs and salaries, people have lost confidence in the future and are reluctant to spend money. Today, we'll discuss the issue further. But before we do, we would like to invite you to subscribe. Your support is our greatest motivation and allows us to bring you more valuable content. Now, moving on. According to Radio Free Asia, Ms. Wang, a resident of Beijing's Mentougou district, said the local market was very quiet, with many vegetable stores closing a week before the New Year and reopening only after the holiday. Now there are no people in the markets or malls. In past years, the sounds of fireworks would fill the air, but this year it's almost silent. The stalls in the malls are empty, and it's not just one or two stores. This is the situation everywhere. In the past, vegetable shops would close just a day or two before the New Year, but this year they closed nearly 10 days earlier. They won't reopen until after the holiday. Blogger Xiao Shushu shared that on the 5th day of the New Year, when he went to the supermarket, he saw many shops along the street closed, and there were only a few people outside. Physical stores have really been struggling the past couple of years. This year, it feels like everyone's extending their holiday. Over 10 days before the New Year, many stores had already closed. Today is the 5th day of the New Year, and when I went to the supermarket, not a single store was open. In previous years, by the 3rd or 4th day, many people would have returned and stores would be open. But now, with business being slow, people are just taking a few extra days off. There's no point in opening the store since there's no customers. Better to stay home and spend more time with family, friends, and loved ones. I really didn't expect that today, the 4th day of the New Year, sales would be so slow. There were barely any customers buying gift boxes, and the streets were almost empty. Just yesterday, I was saying I didn't want to put out the gift boxes, but after seeing other stores display theirs, I got stubborn and put a whole bunch out. Well, turns out I was totally wrong. Didn't sell a single one all day. It's so embarrassing. A lot of store owners are saying that their sales during Chinese New Year are getting worse every year, especially when it comes to gift boxes. And if they run into customers who haggle too much, they might even end up selling at a loss just to get rid of the stock. Miss Liu, a resident of Shandong, told reporters on the 3rd day of the New Year that the market has been really slow this year. With fewer people around and much less of the usual festive vibe, people's incomes are lower, the economy doesn't look great, and everyone's saying 2025 is going to be even worse. So, people are being a lot more careful with their spending. A fruit shop owner I know said that compared to last year, customers' buying power has dropped by about 2/3. Now, he's only buying cheaper fruits that most people can afford, but even those aren't selling well. Miss Liu added that most people now have a buy only if I really need it attitude towards New Year goods, which is why so many stores are having trouble with sales. If they don't really need it, they're not buying New Year items. People are just being more picky with how they spend their money. Today is the 6th day of the New Year. Hello everyone, I'm Tiger. The price of sugar tangerines has gone up, but they're not selling well. Just look at how little I sold yesterday, and I still have so much left. The foot traffic is really low right now. I think it won't pick up until after the 8th, but for now the streets are almost empty. The temperature is also really low. Today it's -5 degrees, and tomorrow it'll be -7.
今天零下5度，明天零下7度。做生意啊，讲究的是人品啊。
In business, integrity is everything. People with good character have 4 key qualities when it comes to business. First, they're honest and never cheat their customers. Second, they're not afraid to take a loss and don't try to take advantage of others. Third, they keep their promises and are trustworthy. Fourth, always be grateful and show appreciation. When you work with such kind and honest people, your business is less likely to fail because good, sincere people are often blessed.
背后都有老天保佑着。
The situation in Shanghai is similar. With the economy slowing down and the government cracking down on foreign businesses, many of them are pulling out. Almost all the foreigners have left, and China's rich are also leaving, moving abroad to settle.
今天我带大家看一下上海过年的街道，人们。
Today, I'm showing you what the streets of Shanghai look like during the New Year, super quiet and empty. If you throw a stick, you won't even worry about hitting anyone, and if you take the bus, you could end up with the whole bus to yourself. Honestly, you could even sleep on the street and it would be completely safe. My colleague said, now, if you see someone, it feels pretty unusual.
你都感觉到稀奇的很。
在上海过年实在是太无聊了。
Spending the New Year in Shanghai is so boring. It doesn't feel like the holidays at all. The street food is gone, there are no night markets, and there's nothing to eat. Even the basketball courts are closed, and there are hardly any people on the streets. Most of my friends are either traveling or back home with their families. It's so dull. I honestly don't know what to do with all these days off.
还有这么多天该怎么办了？
上海浦东机场这边都没有人啊。
At Shanghai Pudong Airport, there's almost no one here. I'm not sure what it was like before. Does anyone know? I'm on my way to Thailand, and there aren't many people flying to Thailand either. Let me show you. From here to over there, it's so far, and there are only about 20 to 30 people. I've heard online that there are a lot of Koreans in Shanghai, but I haven't seen them. Maybe Shanghai is just too big.
但是我也没看着，可能上海太大了啊。
上海目前的真实情况，你听了。
The situation in Shanghai right now might really surprise you. It's so bad, you might just feel like jumping in the Huangpu River. A few days ago, I was talking to a taxi driver, and he said ride-hailing drivers and food delivery people are making way less money now. Big companies are laying off staff, small businesses are closing down, and a lot of office buildings are empty. Fewer people are taking taxis to work, and when they get home, they're cooking their own meals instead of ordering takeout. Houses in Shanghai aren't selling either. The second-hand housing market is struggling. If the prices aren't dropped enough, no one's even looking. Rich people are just leaving their money in the bank, not spending it. The people who actually want to spend don't have money, and every industry is facing really tough competition right now.
现在市场内卷非常严重。
你们好，这里是上海超市，那么大几千个平方啊。
Hello, this is a supermarket in Shanghai. It's so big, several thousand square meters. Look at this. Turn around, you can't even see the end of it. A supermarket this big and there's no one here. Business is really tough right now. Look, just 1 or 2 people. I'm just here strolling around, maybe picking up a few things I need. The supermarket is huge and there's a lot of stock. This is supposed to be one of the busiest places in Shanghai, but there's nobody around. Supermarkets are really struggling. Just look how big it is.
那么热闹的地方就没人，你们看，超市真的难开的，看不到边，你看多少大。
During the Chinese New Year, people's spending habits have become much more cautious. This reflects the broader changes in China's economy and society. In recent years, layoffs, unstable incomes, and rising unemployment have forced many families to cut back on non-essential spending.
今天是除夕夜，我们都不上班了，所以说起来就
Today is New Year's Eve, so we're taking it easy and got up a bit late. We already bought most of the ingredients for the New Year's dinner, but today we're going to Walmart to grab the things we missed. I'm not sure if it's because of New Year's Eve or because of the current situation, but the supermarket is completely empty. We quickly picked up a few things and headed home. Once we got back, I quickly cleaned the house, even though it's a rental, and we still want to make sure it's tidy and nice for the new year. Looking back, this year has been the lowest earning year for us. My husband works in real estate, and we've seen the industry go from its peak to its lowest point. Properties that people used to own, now if they try to sell them, they'll lose money. When the real estate market was doing well, we used to get bonuses of 34,000 at the end of the year and 14,000 on a regular month. But this year, we didn't get any bonus at all. The difference is huge, and it's hard to deal with. Many of my husband's colleagues are facing pay cuts or layoffs. Honestly, having a job right now feels like a blessing.
我觉得现在有份工作真的就不错了。
今年春节
This year, my husband and I are one of the first couples who are too scared to go home for the new year because we're both unemployed. It feels like a heavy weight on us, turning what should be a warm and happy time into something full of stress and fear. Before we lost our jobs, we had finally bought our own home, thinking we'd be starting a stable life here and finally be able to live the dream. It felt like fate was working against us. After I lost my job early last year, I tried to comfort myself, thinking things would get better if we just hung on. But a few months later, my husband's company drastically downsized, and almost all the employees lost their jobs. They were also forced to sign unfair contracts with no compensation and even wage cuts. At that moment, everything just crumbled. To save money, we haven't bought any new clothes for a long time, and we haven't gone out for a decent meal. Every penny is carefully counted, and every expense is considered twice. I keep asking myself, how did life get so tough all of a sudden? We've worked so hard, fought for this home, and yet it feels like life's just knocked us down.
为了这个家拼命奋斗，却还是被生活狠狠。
我98年，今年26岁。
I was born in 1998, so I'm 26 now. I come from a regular rural family, no car, no house, no savings. I've been living in Chengdu for 3 years, but I've been unemployed for the past month. I've been looking for a job everywhere, but no luck so far, so I've decided to go back home. For the past month, I've been really anxious, hoping to find a job soon, but every day is just a disappointment. Last night, I couldn't sleep and started thinking, what's the point of staying in the city? After paying rent and daily expenses, I don't have much left. I haven't saved much over the years, and with switching jobs and long periods without work, I've used up my savings. Going back home just seems like a better option now. In my hometown, I can get away from the stress of city life, enjoy the rare blue skies, and eat homemade noodles from my mom, and meet up with friends. So I've decided to head back home and start living a simpler life.
些我的摆烂生活。
The blogger Xiao Yu comes from a tiny county in northeast China. She doesn't like the cold weather or the muddy streets when it snows. When she grew up, she left to work in other places because she wanted to see the world beyond her small town.
今年回家很早，因为自从8月失业后，我就一直
I came back home pretty early this year because after losing my job in August, I ended up hanging around Dali for a few months. Eventually, I decided to head home for the new year, but I was feeling a bit anxious, worried about what my relatives might say or how my parents would look at me. But surprisingly, I didn't get that harsh criticism I thought I would. The moment I stepped a foot back in my hometown, I finally understood what coming home really meant. Since I've been back, the thing I do most is head to the market. You can find so many things here that are unique to Northeast China, like frozen pears, frozen persimmons, and other local treats. They even sell sweet rice dumplings outside. One day, I went to my aunt's place when they were slaughtering a pig, and I got to eat some real Northeast food. You can't find dishes like those anywhere else in China. In this cold place where you can see your breath and frost forms on the windows, I finally found that feeling of belonging.
找到了归属感。
That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.